Okay, let's see if this works. Okay, this is a stream that I'll be doing from using a setup that is more complicated than I ever did so far. So if something goes wrong and I explode and everything goes dark, I'll be probably back in a few seconds in a new stream or something. So, okay, let's see, how do I do this? Okay. Okay. You should be able to see my screen of my iPad and a view from my camera and a view on the chat if everything goes well. Hi for everyone, and I added the chat, so you should be able to see the comments while you watch the video, and it will be also available while you watch the video that is pre-recorded. So you should be able to watch it while you watch it later on YouTube, not live. Okay, so let's see. I'm experimenting with Procreate on my iPad because I wanted to test if I can paint something that is not a sketch, so something that is a little bit more complicated than the things I did before. And I decided to do kind of like anime background kind of thing. So let's see how it goes. I already painted the trees, like if you can see. Already painted the trees, and I already grouped like the buildings that will be in front. Yes, Kana is here. She is working on her stuff. She has illustrations for a book to do, so she works next to me. But today I'm at my computer desk because I had a lot of stuff to connect to the computer, so I decided to do it on the computer desk. Okay, so I have the gate here, like the gate. So let's paint the gate first. Okay, and I have your chat also here, so I should be able to read your questions and answer questions and do stuff. Hi to everyone from everywhere: Norway, Italy, Germany. Was there Germany? I think there was Germany. England. Okay, and actually this is actually the first time also that I am trying to do something like this in Procreate. So I'm actually modifying the brushes that are in Procreate to fit my needs as I go. And probably when I finish this picture, I will upload the brushes on my Gumroad. So you can download them and test them on your own iPad if you have an iPad with Procreate. Slovakia! Good morning, Slovakia! It's already evening here, like 5, almost 6 p.m. Okay, so this part here, the only thing that I'm really not worried, but I would like Procreate to have is that it does not have clipping mask, which I use a lot in Photoshop while doing backgrounds. And this is hello Philippines and Ireland, and this is kind of a pain that Procreate does not have this. Okay, I'll have to adjust the camera a little. Okay, and this is a kind of a pain that Procreate does not have clipping mask. Witam z Polski. Znaczy nie, ja witam z Japonii. And actually the last stream I did was really hectic because when I look at the recorded stream right now, it's like 600 comments, above more than 600 comments, so it's like impossible for me to answer all of your comments. Yeah, I can make a new layer and then alpha lock it, which is what I'm doing now, and it's really useful. But in Photoshop you can make a layer like a building, like this one here, and then put smaller layers that are just like elements. So we use it a lot while painting with when painting digitally backgrounds, but that would be really helpful if Procreate also added this. But I mean, this file is kind of big, so probably I will not be able to do so much so much layers. This is like 3000 4000 pixels wide, so Procreate tells me I can do only like 30-40 layers or something on this iPad, so this will be the limit probably. Okay, yes, this is this. Okay, so let's do a shadow. I want to do a shadow. I will use probably like light violet color for the shadows, something like this. Yes, I'm basing this off a real place. Maybe you will be able to see this. Okay, so this is the photo I'm basing this on. But because this photo I took was in vertical and I wanted it to be like a background for animation, I decided to make it not vertical but horizontal. And I actually have this photo displayed on my Mac right now, which is working as the streaming device for this stream. Okay, so a question. What types of photos would you study? Hi Kana, someone said. I don't know. It's like I recently actually made a Pinterest account, and I have a lot of different photos there. I just save almost everything that is kind of, oh, this is nice. But we go to location hunting, so we go to places that are kind of interest, like, oh, there are some old buildings here, so let's go there and make a lot of photos. So we take a lot of photos of places like that that interest us, to have as a reference later. And then when we paint something and it's like, oh, I need a house that looks kind of like this, it's easy to use your own references, because you know the folder, you already know what is in there, and you just, oh, I know I saw a building like this. So you go to the folder and you check it, and okay. Searching on the internet is also okay, but first, you don't know if you can paint this thing that you found on the internet, because it's someone's photo. It can be like copyrighted, it can be a well-known photo that someone took, and when you paint it, it's like, oh, but this is a photo that so and so took. So if you are just using it for a reference, like, oh, I want to know how Tokyo Station looks like, for example, that's okay. But having your own kind of small library of photos that you use is really useful. And now it's really easy to make, because you have your iPhone or other smartphone with you almost all the time. So it's easy to take a photo of something that you see. And it's necessary. It's good to try to paint a lot of stuff. So not only like buildings, not only like cars, but also people and all kinds of crazy things. That, oh, this is a nice, I don't know, boat, or this is a nice ship that I saw yesterday in the harbor or something, and you just go and paint it. Okay. Yeah, this is like a shrine, I think. And it has like a sign here. A yellow sign that says something, but it's too far to see. So I'll paint the letters later. And it has like a white thing here. I made a sketch first. So, and I have the sketch layered on with multiply on like 10% only opacity, so I can see what I'm doing, but also have kind of a view of my original kind of plan that I had for this picture. Of course, the thing changes as I go, so this is too saturated. Okay. Of course, the thing changes as I go. Okay. And I'm going here for this kind of Ponyo-ish vibe for this picture. I'm not like trying to be photorealistic here. Okay, and there was a question here, and that said, is it better to buy a graphics tablet or like an iPad? It depends. If you want to do Photoshop, and if you want to use the graphics tablet to do all kinds of art, and you want to do it at your studio, and you don't want to take it outside, then it's okay to buy a graphics tablet. But if you want to be able to draw outside also, and if you want to focus on doing sketches and also some finished art, but mostly sketches, then iPad is really nice. You can do finished art on iPad also, but it's kind of harder. You have to kind of know what you're doing. I think that Photoshop is more forgiving, and you can do more layers, and you can use all these brushes that already someone made, and you can have a lot of tutorials or how to do backgrounds and how to paint, how to do comics and everything. But on iPad it's still like kind of new grounds. I don't know so much people that do like professional comics or something on iPad, so it's still kind of Wild West here. はじめまして。日本人の皆さんにも、こんばんはです。日本語の質問はいいなんですけど、漢字はそんなに読めないので、なんか英語でできたらいいんです。カナがいるんだから、呼んでくれるだと思うんだけど、
読みます。
彼女も仕事忙しいなので。Okay, so I made some blue highlights here because the sky is kind of reflected in those tiles. Here. Oto-san! Hello. Yes, I will be making those brushes available for free, because these are brushes that I originally took from Procreate, and I modified them a lot actually, so they kind of fit the painting style I want to use here. So I will be putting them on Gumroad for like the 1+ kind of thing, so you can download them and try them. No, 1+, 0+. I probably speak Japanese more lately because of Kana and because of work, so my English is kind of limited because I'm using it only for YouTube videos and streaming recently, so my accent is getting probably even more heavier than it was before. Dzień dobry. Okay, and I don't know how this looks here, because in the photo is like there is like a sign here, but I'll make this white. And I'll add some details here. And this also drops like a shadow, so I'll add a shadow. Thank you. I went to a university course, you call it, in Japanese when I first came to Japan to study. So I was taught Japanese by a regular Japanese teacher on like an intensive lessons for those people who came to Japan and want to study something not Japanese, but they need Japanese to communicate. So we were taught like this kind of survival style. What do you need to know to survive your university in Japan in 40 days? No, it was like 4 months or something. So that's how I learned Japanese. Oh, this is kind of lighter. Like this. Okay. I want to put some texture, so I'll just lightly like tap it like this to make it like this kind of textured. I will add some textures later. I'm happy that I'm your first live video. I don't know if I'm the best, but I'm not the worst probably to watch. I used some of the things I saw on the internet, people doing like the live chat, and I tried also. So this is the first layer, and I will later add a layer of not lines but like accents that will make some things more strong and more visible, and also some textures and some stuff like lines. But for now I'm kind of focusing on making all the things here, so everything is painted, and then I can focus on adding details and making the things that need to stand out more stand out. Have you ever met fans in Japan? No, I don't think so. I met some people that are like, oh, it's you, okay, but that were like from work. So a guy that who is an animator, and we ate like a company dinner, and he was like, oh, that's you. So it's not like he's a fan and he came to meet me. So, but I did not met a fan yet. I'm always like, oh, I wonder if I tweet that I'm here right now, someone will come, but no one came yet. So that's kind of good, I think. I don't know. Okay, this is really colorful. I don't know if this is good or bad, but it looks really colorful. There's like a roof here. Yes, I will try to keep this live on this channel, but this is a kind of a test stream, because I'm doing this for the first time from the iPad, and I'm doing it using an app that allows me to stream it from my iPad to my computer. So I don't know if I don't go offline like halfway through or something. Where do I get most of my inspiration? Probably from my surroundings. Most of the things I draw, and most of the people I put in my animations and places that I put in my comics are from real world, not directly, but kind of inspired by the thing that I see around me. So yeah, probably from my surroundings. I mean, when I was living in Tokyo, I was doing a lot of Tokyo, and I was doing a lot of like Tokyo trains and kind of this stuff that I saw around me. But now I moved, and I'm still close to Tokyo, so sometimes I go to Tokyo to do like the Tokyo storefront stuff or some meetings with the animation stuff. But now I'm in Kanagawa, so I do a lot more things from Kanagawa, like the Enoshima and the Enoden. Okay. And there was a question about the iPad, right? You're using 12-inch iPad, and it feels good if you're on the desk, but if I got the 10.5 for outdoor sketching. Okay, so I had the 10.5, and I like it a lot. It's really good. But I often work with things that I have like a photo, especially for the animation. So I needed something that's kind of a little bit bigger, so I can display a photo and then work on a picture like side by side. And on the iPad you can do the side by side with Procreate, so that's no problem. But if you have a really small iPad, it's kind of a pain. So I bought the 12.5 recently, and now I'm on 12.5, and Kana has the the one I was using before. And I think it's better for studio use. That's really kind of ergonomically better than the one, the smaller one, but it's kind of big actually. So if you want to paint outside, probably the smaller one is better. Okay, so there's like a plant here, and this part is kind of darker. And as you can see, I'm using mostly the colors that I already used. So I just pick colors from the painting that already is done and then modify them a little bit sometimes. Okay. I will have to go to Myorenji then to explore a little bit. It's a nice thing to live in Tokyo because everywhere you go there's something interesting, and everywhere you go the kind of how do you call it, atmosphere is really different. So it's always interesting to go to a new place. Kana-san!
はい。
誰かが書いた。デミルさん。
はい。
はい。Okay. Kana is actually making illustrations for a book that will be published probably like in a month or two. So and a cover also. So she will probably post on her Twitter or Instagram when the book is finished and it's already published, so you can buy it. Do you listen to music while working? Yes, actually a lot. Well, while I was working at the animation studio, we all people had the headphones on, almost all people. So I also had my headphones on, but now that we are working at home, we mostly listen to music from CDs. I had the Apple Music account. I paid for Apple Music, but we have also a lot of CDs that we buy secondhand. So we wanted to use them because we already had them. So we bought recently a CD player and we connected it to the speaker that we had at home, and we are using this to listen to like CDs. So we just put a CD on, sometimes listen to it twice. It's really nice to listen to music like this because you are kind of more how do you call it, you notice it more because you have to choose it, like what do you want to listen to next, and you go and you take the CD and you open it. So it's kind of nice to listen to music like this. On iTunes it's always like, I don't know, let's just listen to the newest one and like put it on. Okay, how long have you been painting like this piece, or like everything? Like this piece I started yesterday at around 4 p.m. I think, but it takes me a lot of time because this is the first time I'm doing something like this in Procreate, so I don't have yet the brushes like I would like them to be, and this is kind of frustrating actually, but yeah, what you can do. Just The only thing is that you can paint and then make your own brushes a little bit better and better every time you paint, or get used to them. Everything. Okay, so I have been painting with watercolors like as a hobby from my secondary school, I think. But recently, it's when I was like probably 18 or something, I started to paint more seriously and got my first like a temporary job at Wacom doing like presentations of their tablets to live on live events. And then I went to Japan to study animation and comics, and I'm here. So I'm painting like 12, 13 years already, probably. That's long. But not so long. I worked on character animation only for my animation. For the animation I did like to finish my university, but I did not work on a character animation at the animation studio because I'm too slow and not really good at animating people. So I went for the background painting gig and actually got in. Yes, we are planning actually to do a small animation with Kana probably later this year, but that's still like in really starting phases, so I don't know when it will be or what it will be. We know what it will be, but not how long or exactly when. But yeah. Yeah, it's okay to do a research on my work. I get some requests from students and from like fans on YouTube that would like to research my work, and it's okay to research it and to analyze it and to try to reproduce it. I think it's what I did when I was studying, but of course it's like if you are studying someone's work and doing stuff that is similar, it's good to kind of write from where you did get the inspiration from. That's all. Okay, so okay, where's my sketch? Yes. So there's a pole here. I'll paint it white. Okay, a little bit too long. And it has like this, like lights here. 1 and 2. And it kind of gets thicker here. And it goes like here. Okay. Who is this Kana? Kana is my wife. And she's also an illustrator, an artist. And sometimes we do stuff together. And she also did a comic, like an internet web comic about our like daily life together. So if you want to read it, yeah, I can show the reference image for a second. It's like this one. Okay. I'm using Procreate. I have some, but I was mostly doing stuff like from photos and a little bit of live painting when I was like on vacation or something. So that was like mostly really simple sketches in a small kind of Moleskine type sketchbook. So it's nothing like it's nothing like interesting. I don't pick colors from the reference photo. I observe the photo and I kind of analyze it and I see what I would like to do, but I don't use colors straight from the photo. The whole thing about painting like this is kind of trying to paint what you would like to paint and not repaint or recreate the photo, because that's nonsense. you can just use the photo or put some filters on it. So the photo is nice, but and I like the scene, I like the place, I like the kind of the atmosphere of it, but I would like to do something that's kind of a little bit different. So I'm not using the photo directly as a reference, and I'm not using the photo directly for colors now. What are you painting this picture for? I'm painting this for no particular reason. This is a background that I wanted to do because this is the first time I'm using Procreate like this. So this is kind of a test for Procreate and for my new iPad, because I bought the bigger one. I had the smaller one before. So this is a test for if you can paint a background in Procreate. So that's kind of a so this is the main idea here. There's no reason. Maybe I'll do if the background turns out to be kind of nice, maybe I'll do something with it, like add a character or something, but now it's like only for fun. I do a lot of my stuff like for just as an experiment, and then sometimes the things I do for fun and for experiment, it's like yeah, let's turn it into something. So it's good to experiment. Okay, so I'll add the second electric pole here. Whoa. Something happened. Probably layers, yes. Layers happened. I'm not really stressed about making all things straight, as you can probably see, because this is how this picture kind of is. So okay, I tried I tried to use Gansai, the Kuretake Gansai Tambi watercolors, and I like them actually, but they are a little bit different than regular watercolors that I'm used to. They are more shiny, and some colors are more intensive than others, and it's easy to do like greens and violets, but it's hard to do like reds, and so it's kind of different. It has like a different characteristic. I liked it, but probably I'll stick to watercolors. But it's nice. 岩彩短美の呉竹さんの水彩を使ってみたことがあるんだけど、しまった。 だけどなんか色的にはまあ、緑とかは出しやすかったんだけど赤とかなんかこういう系の色はちょっと出しにくかった気がしたなので多分まああとちょっとテカテカするんですよね。水彩よりなんかテカってるなのでとりあえず多分普通の水彩の方が僕的には使いやすいんだけどまあいつか使うかしらね。結構好きだったけど面白い。ピグメントが違うんですよね。ピグメントが違ってなんか雰囲気がちょっと違うんですよね。庭描いたら結構いい感じだったんだけどこれで建物描けって言われたらちょっと難しいなと思ったです。I'm using the iPad Pro 12.9 inches 512 giga the top one because I also use it for editing the videos that you can see on my YouTube channel, so I need a lot of space to store the videos because sometimes I do it in like 4K, so it's easier to have a lot of space. And actually I have been using this iPad a lot as my main tool for painting recently. Oh, I first heard of Hayao Miyazaki when I was still in Poland, and someone just recommended me the Studio Ghibli movies or Studio Ghibli movies. It's hard. In Japanese it's Stadio Ghibli, and in English it's Studio Ghibli or Ghibli. So it's hard to switch. And so I was recommended it when I was still in Poland, and I saw almost everything that I could get my hands on. I'm really close to seeing everything because we go to the Studio Ghibli museum in Mitaka to see the short movies also. And actually we got tickets for the newest one, for the Caterpillar Boro, Kemushi no Boro. So we go on the premiere day, 21st. Yeah, probably 48 gigs is also 64 gigs is also okay for Procreate. I have the big one because I'm doing video also on this. Like I'm using the Luma Fusion application for doing like video editing on this. So I have the bigger one, but you can always probably go away with the 64 or 128. No problems probably. The main thing is the CPU, how fast is it, and it's fast, so the memory does not matter so much probably. Okay. And I mean, either way, you cannot do so many layers in Procreate on iPad, so yeah, probably you're okay. I would say that studying really hard and only Japanese for 3-4 months is okay to speak like the most basic things, and then you have to learn more words and learn as you go. But this is when you are learning like only Japanese. Take my sweater off because it's kind of hot here. ちょっと暑い. I had to stop my heater. Okay, let's do this pole thing. This is actually a sign that says that there is a water tank underneath. So, kind of an interesting thing. And it has this really strange shape. I'm doing it on a separate layer, so I can alpha lock it and color it later. Okay. Yeah, the best is to learn only Japanese. Like, if you can spend like 3 months learning only one thing, you really get good at it fast. So it's also the same thing with drawing and painting. When I went to the animation studio and we only did like backgrounds for every day for many hours, you get good at it fast, and you have to because it's your work. So yeah, spending like focusing on one thing is really nice. Okay, and there are like crazy crates here. Let's pick a color that will be kind of visible here. So there's probably like a restaurant or something here, and they put the crates, the beer crates here. And I love details like this because they give the picture kind of human touch. So it's not only like a picture of a building, but also like someone is really living here and doing stuff and making business, and it makes the place here feel more alive than just, you know, okay. And there's like a mirror here, and I will use the same layer as this one. When you were doing the backgrounds for the animated movies, we used a lot of layers. So basically we would do one layer like this for the mirror, for example, and then make a highlight layer and shadow layer and details layer and the mirror part layer and the roof kind of layer, and layers on layers on layers on layers, a lot of layers. Like the final files would be like nightmares for Photoshop because they would be so big. But here I'm trying to limit my layers as much as I can, so I'm using some for my comfort, but I'm trying to get away with as few layers as possible for this. And also because I want to get like hand painted kind of feel from this, I don't use so much hard edges. It's all kind of round and also skewed a little bit, so it does not look like painted from a ruler or from like a digital. I did the sketch also on iPad. I will be uploading this, I will be leaving this here, but I'll be also making a short video as usual on how I painted this from start to finish, because I don't think I can manage to do it today, everything, even if I be here for the live broadcast for like 10 hours or something. So I'll make a short video about this later. Okay. And there's like a thing here. Let's see, like I need a nice color, like this one is nice. Okay. Okay, and a little bit more darker here. We did not paint over photos for animation. We use photos as references, so we look at the photo and we paint. Sometimes we use photos to make the initial sketch, but we never painted like over photos. We use sometimes like elements. We used sometimes like elements like, oh, I like this tree, so I'll just copy paste the tree and then paint over it because it's easier to get the shape of a tree because it's kind of complicated. But we almost never use like, I think we never used like a photo and just painted over it, because most of the times it's just kind of fantasy world or different angle, so we almost never just probably like 100% paint over a photo for the animation. I got to work with Makoto Shinkai because when I was in the university I did a small animation that's called Right Places. And using this, I tried to get to the studio in which Makoto Shinkai was doing his works, and I got in. So that's like long story short kind of thing. But I spent like 8 months doing this that animation, so that was my graduation project, and also like a project for getting into getting a job. It's an iPad Pro. I worked on Space Dandy, The Strange Case of Hannah and Alice. I worked on Your Name, of course. I worked on some other commercials that Makoto Shinkai did in between, and I worked for some smaller stuff like doing openings and endings. I think I did something for Fate, and there was a lot of things that was just, oh, help us, we don't have the stuff to do the ending or something. So okay, so we'll do like 3 backgrounds for the ending or opening. So there was a lot of stuff that was there, but I don't remember. And we did some games also, like backgrounds for games. I did a lot of backgrounds for the for a popular baseball game that's in Japan. Yeah, I know of him. I don't know him because we never met. I don't think we ever met. I know him and I follow him. We haven't even talked on the internet like once or twice, but I didn't met him. Yes, we like Yuasa-san's work with Kana a lot, actually. Probably he's the second most like director right now that we like in Japan. He does a lot of awesome stuff, so yeah. I seen both the new movies that he did recently. I think that both of them were awesome. Aruke Otome and how was the second one? 2番目はなんだっけ？歩け乙女と人形のやつルーの歌。Rue's song and Aruke Otome. I don't know how it's translated to English. It's really hard to say if you can emigrate to Japan because I mean it's obvious you have to have a visa, and to get the visa you have to have a place that will take you in as a like permanent worker, and to have a place that will take you in you have to have them like, how do you call it, so they will hire you. You cannot get hired if you cannot speak Japanese, for example, and so it's kind of complicated. And I can now work freelance in Japan only because of Kana, so I have a kind of a marriage visa. How do you call it? I don't know. So it's really hard to work in Japan as a freelancer if you are not if you don't have the right to stay in Japan from other place. And I was lucky that I went to Japan and started studying Japanese and did everything like from A to B, so A to Z. So I learned Japanese and I went to the university and then I looked for work and then I worked a little bit. So that was like the like proper way to do stuff for them. So it's easy to get like visa like this, but it would be really hard to just come to Japan and start working, or to contact a company from outside of Japan and get them to hire you and give you the visa. It's not impossible, but it's hard. Okay, so we are here and there's like like a guardrail here. This will take a long time to finish. Probably. Kana-chan 終わった？
終わっちゃった。一回終わったけどもうちょっとやろうかなと思って。
これ最後よね。
これ最後。
お、はい、久美子。We also like Bakemono no Ko, and I like Summer Wars a little bit, and Kana likes the girl who leaped through time. I think it's in English. I think that the girl who leaps through time is my favorite one of Hosoda's. But I really like Mamoru Oshizu, the Kokaku Kidoutai, so the Ghost in the Shell. What gadget you use? Oh, I use a lot of gadgets for this. Actually, this is an iPad Pro 12.9 inches with the Apple Pencil, and I'm filming this using a Panasonic Lumix G7 camera connected to my computer using another gadget that's called Camlink from Elgato, and I'm using H4n field recorder as a microphone, and that's it for the gadgets, I think. Maybe. So it was a pain to set this up, but it seems to work. Do you have an advice for people who want to be a freelance illustrator? If I don't know if I count as a freelance illustrator, because I actually am more like an artist, half freelance illustrator, because I don't do so much commissions. But for the advice I could give is to do series of works. So it's nice to do one illustration of your favorite thing and then go to the next thing and next thing, but doing a series of illustrations makes a nice kind of portfolio work that can spread around the internet and can be picked up by people that will give you commission. And it's easier for them also to judge if you can do a bigger work. So let's think I can do a comic like in a month, 20 pages or something like this. So it's easy, it's nice to have a thing that you can do fast and a lot. And it also makes you learn more if you are making a thing that is kind of a series. It's you learn really fast if you do a lot of the same thing, like in a week or 2 weeks or something, or a month or 3 months or more. I find that I learned the most when I was doing a comic or an animation that required a lot of work. So I was doing like the Bicycle Boy series and the Code in Yokohama series, and I find that when I get a commission, most of the people actually saw like the illustration series that I did, which I'm really happy about, because I thought that it would be like, oh, you worked for Makoto Shinkai, so do Makoto Shinkai backgrounds for us also. But there's actually a lot of people that's coming lately that has been like, oh, let's do Tokyo Storefronts or something. So that's nice. Polish candy and cheese we want. Yes, I have to set up a PO box, but apparently it's not so easy in Japan. I don't know, maybe it's the law or something, but I wanted to get some like paints or stuff sent to me, but so I wanted to set up the PO box, but it's kind of hard and costly actually, so I gave up on that, but I will have to do it. Okay, I'll add some highlights here. And a little bit darker stuff here, because this is the deepest part. And there's also like a, how do they call it? Tesuri in Japanese, railing part thing here. and it kind of reflects the sky, so it's bluish and darkish. I was talking about this in one of my videos, but if you are painting like metal, metal does not have color on its own. If it's like reflective, it can have some rust, or if it's like not steel but copper, it will have color. But still, like really chrome metal, it's reflecting all the things around it, and it's really fun to paint actually. How do you go about choosing colors for your paintings? Oh, this is a difficult question. You start with an image of the painting you want to do. Is it a night painting, or is it a morning painting? Is it a full bright blue sky painting, or is it a I don't know, like late evening painting? So because this is like a late evening painting, the shadows are kind of deep violet and the bright places are kind of orangish. So that's the kind of scheme you start working with, and then you go about the colors with this scheme in your head. And I don't know, this kind of happens because background painting is really time consuming and bothersome, but the more you put it in the painting, the more better it becomes, so it's nice. And of course sometimes it's like, oh, you can put whatever you want in this painting and it doesn't go good, but until it's like 90% finished, it's still like and then suddenly it becomes better. There's a lot of cases like this. So you have to choose like a color scheme that you like, and then just work with it all the painting, throughout all the painting. And sometimes I use like paintings that I like as a palette. So I open a painting that's like, I don't know, of cows or whatever. It can be whatever, but it has nice colors. And I use it as a palette for picking up the colors. I like the color of the shadows and I like the color of the grass, for example. So I use this painting for or a photo also as a palette for my work. It does not matter what's the content of the painting. It can be anything. So sometimes it's nice to do it, but sometimes I go like with this one. So I started from scratch and I'm just going as a paint. I just add colors and change colors. I mean, it's kind of natural after you paint a lot of backgrounds to just pick colors that kind of work nicely with each other. But I also have the photo reference here, so I can kind of infer what color I should use to make it look nice. Do you like Ilya Kuvshinov? I don't know how to pronounce his surname. And no, I liked his art before, when I was still like really into digital art, like the characters and stuff. But I think that his art is one of the things that happens a lot in the animation and illustration industry in Japan right now. It's repetitive. So he takes stuff from works that people like, or takes photos that people will like, or takes, I don't know, girls mostly that people will like, and paints them in his style that he knows that will work. And he makes a lot of art like this. So this is a nice way to kind of produce a lot of nice work, but it's kind of not good for the like illustration environment, I think. The thing that illustration artists and artists at all, or every artist should do, in my opinion, is making things that people don't yet know that they want. So it's like with the iPhone. When there was no iPhone, everyone wanted more buttons on their like cell phones. But when they made the iPhone, everyone was like, "Oh yes, this is it." And artists should be like making stuff that will inspire people and make people think about things and progress the art a little bit further and further. So if he got popular on like painting cute girls that are really good quality and kind of nice and slick, then that's all right. But at some point one should start making other things. But that's only me. And he has a lot of talent and a lot of skills in painting. Okay, let's color this blue part a little bit. Okay, I will make it like kind of this pinkish color, but I will leave a little bit of the blue so it looks like concrete a little bit, and I'll put also a little bit of the green here. So I'm trying to reuse the colors I already used, so the whole picture is kind of color consistent. I will use the smudge tool a little bit. I actually like the smudge tool in Procreate. I don't use it a lot in Photoshop when I'm painting, but in Procreate it's kind of nice. Yeah, somebody asked about the Ilya guy. I cannot pronounce his surname. And there was actually some really good art from him with a lot of girls, which was good art. And he's really popular in Japan also. I saw like albums of his work, but whatever. Okay, and this part here is dark, bigger. It's one thing that I really like about Studio Ghibli or Ghibli, that even though the popular art is like the popular work is like Totoro and Laputa and Nausicaa, they never do like sequels, so never do like the second part of Totoro or whatever, but make things that they think are good for people to see right now. So if they see like the people are kind of down, they make like Porco Rosso or something. So I really like this kind of approach that tries to make the world better. Okay, how to start learning painting backgrounds. Oh, this is really hard because the only way I learned painting backgrounds was painting backgrounds. I learned a lot while just trying to do backgrounds that looked vaguely like Makoto Shinkai's work. So I did a lot of backgrounds for my own animation, like with this style, because I really liked painting digitally. So I figured that the best backgrounds are like Shinkai backgrounds, the digital ones at least. So I tried I watched a lot of his movies. I analyzed how they are painting. I tried to paint the sky like this, and tried to paint trees like this, and tried to paint like the all kinds of things like it was in the animations. And I bought albums of his work to help me kind of analyze the things and get the art in better quality. So I learned a lot, like by trying to imitate, and this is the first thing you do when you try to become an artist in general, I think. Like, imitate and learn from the people who came before you. But also it's really important to see real things. So you cannot only do art based on other art, because it gets repetitive and you get into this kind of habit of painting only the things you like. So it's really important to also paint the things that you don't really like painting, and things like backgrounds are probably the top first thing that artists don't like to paint. Like, I want to be a comic artist, but I don't like painting backgrounds. I heard this a lot when I was like helping at the university. But a nice background can give a lot to work. So you have to do everything, like trees and buildings and telephone poles and everything that is kind of vaguely needed for your next work, probably. And then do it a lot, and try every time to be better at the thing you do. And this is kind of obvious, but trying not to repeat and your mistakes, and analyzing the things that you do and then making them better and better is like the most important thing that is there, actually. You learning perspective is really important, but I always say that if you learn how to draw boxes that are kind of vaguely in perspective, then you can just, divide those boxes into more complicated boxes, and then you can do everything, because everything can be like put into a really simple shape. So if you learn how to paint and draw simple shapes in perspective, in like really good perspective, then you can do everything. So buildings and people and trees and whatever can be simplified to simple shapes. So perspective is only like, I don't know, the first 5% of the thing that you have to learn to do backgrounds. And the last thing is that you have to be really, not precise, but observant about the things you paint if you want to do good backgrounds. You cannot skimp on details, and you cannot skimp on textures, and you cannot skimp on like things in general. So it's, you really should not simplify when it's necessary for the things to have more details. And this kind of sense where to put the details and where you cannot, and you don't have to put details, is really comes from practice, I think. Okay, so there's like a gap here in the street. Not gap, like there's a different two different kinds of asphalt in here, so they have a different color and like a gap in between. So when you go to this level of that, you can appreciate two different kinds of asphalt meeting and the gap that is in between, you're probably on a good way to be a good background artist. Kim Jung-gi is like awesome. I don't like some things that he paints because they are like highly erotic and self-indulgent, but God, this guy has skills I mean, wow. キム・ジュンギなんかいろいろ書いてる。So yes, so he paints a lot of really good things like without any sketches, and yeah, he's probably this kind of genius guy that has everything in his head even before he starts painting, and he just then puts it in the painting. But no, yeah, not every one of us can be a genius like this, and we have to put a lot of like hard work into what we do most of the time. Even Hayao Miyazaki, actually, if you listen to his interviews, he says that most of the time he is looking for the perfect line all the time, and the interviewer asks him, but don't you see the image in your head perfectly before you even start painting? And he's like, no, that would be really simple then. Of course not. So even he is like in this kind of group that is looking for the perfect line all the time, and erases and corrects, and because of his experience he can probably go to the perfect 10% of lines before he even starts drawing, but this is just the experience. Okay, and there's like an orange line here, so I'll just pick a nice orange color like this one and do like an orange line, a little bit bigger. Probably it says something like stop here, or watch right, look left, or something. And there's like a thing here. Okay, so this is starting to look like something, probably. I would like to have so good imagination like Hayao Miyazaki, but I don't know actually. Probably only Hayao Miyazaki knows what happens in his head when he's thinking about a new thing. But the thing that we can do is learn from him and learn from his methods to be better at what we do, and that's what I'm trying to do. And probably there are easy things to do and hard things to do, and the way that he does stuff is the hard way, but it also gives nice results, so probably he's right about doing things. So for example, he does not use like photo reference when he sketches stuff for his animations, and he only uses things that he remembered from his like walks around the neighborhood, and he does not use like digital almost at all, and he does not use like 3D models because everything gets really stiff and hard edged when you try to incorporate like 3D in your work. Some of the ways that he works, of course, come from the period in which he started working with no computers at all. Yes, that was Kana asking about Kim Jun-ki. Ne, sugoi. Who is sugoi, which means awesome. Thank you. I try to be kind of brave with the colors I use, so my paintings and the things I do don't get like boring. I also tried to escape a little bit from the kind of Shinkai style, because I got used to Makoto Shinkai's style of coloring, and when you get used to like one person's style of coloring, it's really hard to get out of it after. But I had to, because we had to like everyone had to paint like the same style, which is necessary for animation. Okay, so I now alpha locked this layer, and I'll paint the like this mirror here. In reality it's kind of dark and gray, but I'll make it more white and bright, so you can see it's a mirror. Smaller brush and like this more harder one. We met with Kana only by accident, just on my way to work, which is interesting. But we were meeting for like a year or something on way to work before we actually started dating, so. Okay, so there's also the shadow from the roof thing, so I'll make it darker. And the side will be darker here. And let's add something here, so it seems that something is reflecting here in this mirror, so I'll add like a shape here, so there's something here. Okay, and like a white highlight along this edge here. What has been your favorite project to work on? I did work for Your Name. Brr. I really enjoyed working on Space Dandy, actually, in hindsight. We got to do backgrounds for episode 8, which was all on a planet full of like rusty ships and spaceships, and like full of garbage. So when I saw the storyboard, I was like, oh no, planet full of garbage, what is this? But it was actually really satisfying and fun to paint, because you could paint anything. And this episode actually featured the refrigerator that was in Cowboy Bebop, and I really like Cowboy Bebop, so I got to paint like the refrigerator that was in Cowboy Bebop, so that was awesome. Okay, I will add more highlights to this later, but for now let's continue with the shape. So like a darker color here, and it gets darker like at the base here, but it like probably reflects something, so it's really bright here on the like here. Okay, this looks okay, and let's get to this sign here. It has a whitish like around, and it actually says in English fire hydrant on the top, but the sign is too small to write it, so I'll just fake it like usual. Okay, and let's write the letters properly, like with white. And I tried to emulate the font that is used here. So it looks proper. Okay. And it says something here on the bottom also. Okay. Okay. And I'll take like a darker color and do like a shadow here. I don't know what the next movie that Shinkai is doing is about. Answering the question that was in the chat some time ago. I left the company before he started working on the storyboard, so I don't know anything actually. Which is good. Because I cannot spoil things for you. Okay, I'll unlock this layer for a second. Because there's like a sign here that points actually in the place, at the place where the fire hydrant is actually. And it actually, in the real sign, it says how many meters it's far, like 5 meters or something. So that's interesting. Okay. Whoa, いいね。Okay. Oh, digital painting is difficult. I know that from my own experience, because some works that I actually done were illegally copied by people, and I had a lot of my art like turned into Naruto fan art on on not Pixiv but on DeviantArt. This is why I quit DeviantArt, because there was like a lot of people who just took the art and make stuff with it. And I like if you observe art and use the tricks from this art in your own work, that's okay. But if you just copy and paste it, that's not good. And but it's only like the matter of, I don't know, how good a person you are. I think I have also like my Storyfront series was turned into into stickers somewhere in China probably, and from what I can tell, because they appear on all kinds of Chinese like online stores illegally, and each time I take one down, like 10 of them appears, so it's like battle lost. So I don't know, it's kind of a difficult thing to work with. The only thing that you can do is make art that is so good that everyone knows who is this painting from. So if you do like a painting, and even though someone like copies it and uses it, it will like be known that, oh, that's him or her or whatever. So that's the only way probably that is possible to do like painting like I do. Is to build a brand that will kind of save you from other people. I have a Pixiv account, yes. I have a Pixiv, and I had like the DeviantArt account, but I closed it because there was a lot of reusing of my backgrounds. So I closed it. And I don't know why, but on Pixiv I don't have like this problem. So there is some people using like my art for their stuff, but mostly I don't have this problem on Pixiv so much. have you ever met Miyazaki? I met Miyazaki once or twice.
Yay.
1.5 times. Because once I got to meet him when I was still a university student, and I went to like for a tour on Studio Ghibli. So we went to see like the animation floor that actually is used for like when the animators sit and do stuff. So we went there and I saw him working, so I met him. But the second time we went when I was in the animation studio, and we were doing like a tour of how Studio Ghibli is doing like backgrounds and stuff. So we went to meet the staff that was working that time on the Kamushi no Boro, so the short movie, the newest one. And I actually met Miyazaki and I spoke to him a little bit, but he ran away really fast because probably we were too loud and rowdy for him. I could put digital watermarks, but would you like to see art that is like fully covered with a digital watermark and all parts of it are digital watermarks? Ayo. Ayo. So I don't like watermarks on stuff. That's one solution, yes. And also I don't know, like upload. I try to upload my art like not bigger than like 1500 pixels. So you cannot use it for like prints or stuff like that. So this is one thing I do for like to prevent people from just taking my work and doing prints of it or something. But I like to put my art on the internet and to show it to you in the most like should I sign a replica of someone else's art? No. Probably no. If you do the art, you can sign it like copied by or something. If it's a like one-to-one replica of someone's work, but nah. かなちゃん、僕の Pixiv アカウントの URL チャットに流してくれる？ Kana will post link to my Pixiv. Thank you. Okay, I'm trying to get those like beer crates here because they are nice and they have text on them, which is really nice. I like to put things that have text on them because they make the background appear more realistic, which is good. And they add a lot of character and place the background, so you know, okay, this is Japan or this is like Germany or whatever. The moment you look at it, so it's really useful to have a lot of nice text in your picture. Arigato. So that's my Pixiv, but I don't post there so often. かなちゃんの Pixiv も流して。I like photography. I recently got a better camera for making videos, but it also is a nice camera for making just photos because so I have been doing some more photos lately. どこに？
さっき貼った
なんでだろう。What's my favorite Studio Ghibli movie? I have a lot of favorite Studio Ghibli movies. Probably I like all of them the same, but it depends on the moment. Now I probably like Ponyo the best because it's so nice and pure and just pure fun. But I like all of them, and with time they just change. No, I will use different brush here. I will use just this brush. The one dangerous thing about painting digitally is like僕やるって。わかんない。Okay, so this is Kana's Pixiv. If you want to see it. No, this is my Pixiv. Okay. かなちゃんの Pixiv のリンク流して。Do you have a particular reason why you left the studio? I left because I wanted to do my own work. I tried to convince the studio to do work by me, like original animation, but it was futile. Really, actually now in the animation business, if something does not make money like from the start, it's impossible to do anything like this. So I quit. Because I had some offers. I had some offers from publishers that wanted to do the Tokyo Storyfronts book and wanted to do like other stuff. So I just quit. かなちゃんのやつは普通に開けるよ。でもエラー。ね。じゃあ僕に送って。Okay, so this is Kana's Pixiv. So? But it's behaving weird. What do you think about artists who don't focus on one medium and go from one to another? I go from a lot of mediums. I do digital and do like watercolors and do animation and do all kinds of stuff. I think it's refreshing and kind of keeps the artist's block at bay, and it kind of makes you fresh, and it kind of makes you forces you to think in different ways, because the thing you can do in like painting by hand you cannot do in digital and vice versa, and other way around also. So I actually like to switch. Is it okay to use other people's arts as a reference? Yes. I mean, this is the only way you can learn, but it's also important to know that it's bad to just copy art. If you have those two things in your mind while working, it's okay. At least I think it is. I don't have anything against people that, for example, use my Storyfronts illustrations and make like 3D models of the shops, or use them for like as a reference on style of painting. So I think it's okay, but of course like copying stuff is not good. I have a Patreon actually. I have a Patreon that you can support me at, and sometimes I'm uploading there like full resolution work that you can just download and print for yourself if you want to, or see how it looks in full details. And I'm doing also monthly Q&A session only for the Patreon members, but I try to keep everything that I do like open so everyone can enjoy it, so I don't do like original content for Patreon, like original illustration for Patreon. Like I do sketches, like watercolor sketches sometimes, but most of the things I do, you can, like 99% of the things I do you can see without being a supporter on Patreon, but it's really, it helps a lot actually. Kana Pixiv error. Yeah, there's like I don't know why, but Wait, I'll just post the number, the ID number. So this is Kana's ID number. And this is mine. Apparently, if you post the Pixiv link to YouTube, it goes crazy. Crazy. Okay. Thank you. I use the pledges from Patreon mostly to keep my like Adobe account and buying paper and buying watercolors and buying like electricity to keep my stuff running. And actually like a week ago, the backup disk I was using, time capsule. I was using the time capsule, the Apple time capsule, and I came back home and it was doing a really strange sound, like a I don't know, like a diesel engine or something. Like so it actually was dead. So I had to buy a new like network storage thing for the backup, because one of the things you cannot forget about when you are a digital artist, at least a little bit digital, is like making backups of stuff. So I was really surprised when I came back home and the time capsule was just doing weird noises.
ディーゼルエンジンって言われた。違うんだ、プリンターなんだ。
いや、なんかうちのなんかバックアップのやつがダメになっちゃったね。So I used some of the Patreon pledges to buy like a new backup drive for the computer I use. So when I do like my Tokyo Storyfront stuff or the comic and I edit it digitally, so I can back up it on the disk and have it there so it does not disappear.
なんかいいかもって。後で見て。
わかった。ちょっと休んだら？
本でも読むかな。
今日行く？あれ？
お腹すいた？
あまり。
だよね。明日行くか。
わかった。Yeah, the autumn metro guide cover was really nice. I like it also because it I could this one was one of the few paintings that I did just not perfectly, but it kind of almost is the thing that I had in my head when I was planning it. So about 90% perfectly with the watercolors, which is a good number, and I was really pleased with this painting. I don't know. I haven't used Twitch or Picarto. I don't have an account there either, so I would have to look into it. But yeah, I don't know. What is better about Twitch or Picarto than YouTube? I don't know actually. Streaming for me is a new thing because this is I just managed to connect my camera to my computer in a way that I can use it for streaming. So I'm kind of new in this game. Okay, so here's like a stone thing. It has a little bit of green in it, so I will use some other colors from the picture. This is a nice method to keep everything consistent. Just reuse the colors that you already have in your picture. I need a little bit more green. Okay, so let's choose this color and make it more green a little bit, like this one. Okay. What books do you recommend for beginners to learn art? This is a really huge topic. I don't. I have not used like books, like how to do art. I used only books that have art in them that I like. So if you have seen my bookcase, and there's a lot of Ghibli art, for example, there. And okay, let's do the poll because it's annoying me there. Alpha lock it, make the brush a little bit bigger. So I recommend buying books from artists you like and analyzing the work and trying to find what makes the art tick and how it was made, and just also like using this art as reference material for your own art. It's a good method for learning. You can buy some books that will tell you what tools to use or how to clean brushes and how to do perspective. But if you have one or two books like this, that's enough. They mostly have the same things in them and actually don't write all the kind of secrets of the trade that really make the art stand out, just the basics. So it's better, I think, to analyze the art that you think is excellent, to get a hang on the art that you would like to make. But I'll always say that it's really important to do your own art, your own thing. So you are not only copying stuff, but making your own original art and making the whole art world more yutaka in Japanese, so more plentiful, probably more nice and spacious. Okay, you get cash from people. I will consider it maybe, but I want to keep my art and my YouTube channel and things I do as commercial free and as sponsor free as I can. I got some offers for sponsoring on my YouTube channel and some like, let's do some reviews of I don't know, graphic tablets or monitors or whatever. But I mostly turned them down because I don't want to do this kind of thing. And for my followers, if you want to support me like with a coin or two, you can go to my Patreon. Okay, my camera is dead. I will just change the battery. I still have to buy this kind of gadget thing that makes the camera work on like electricity, not on battery power. So this is the thing I still have to buy for this setup. Okay, it should be on, and let's focus. Okay, we have focus. So yeah, getting back to the thing I was talking about, I don't want to get into this kind of let's do this next or let's do this next kind of business on YouTube or in Twitch. Yeah, food is expensive. Everything is expensive in Japan. Everything is expensive in Japan, especially in Tokyo. So I'm really kind of lucky and humbled that I can make the thing I want here. What is the usual DPI for creating backgrounds? This is a difficult question because for animation, like there are few standards for animation backgrounds. I don't remember actually, but I think it's like 170 something DPI. But when I paint, I usually do like 300 A4 kind of thing, so I can put details and make it bigger and smaller later, so I have some freedom. But I think it doesn't have to be so big. Usually when we make backgrounds for animation, we just make it the size of the screen, so 1920 by 1080, that I think pixels, and it's 172 I think DPI, but the DPI doesn't actually have so much to do when you have the resolution set correctly. Okay, so there's like a white poster here. Yeah, I think it's like a morning kind of setting. I will do some hard shadows later on this. So now I'm trying to just paint everything so it looks like something. And then I will put some hard shadows here. I don't know if I have the layer. No, I don't have the layer. I was testing some shadows later before. Okay. Let's use this green here. Okay, and there's like a whoa. There's like a text here and like a red arrow that points left like this, and white text here. Blah. Like this, and there's like a font here that says something. I cannot read it, but I can copy it. Yes. Okay, I'm just continuing here on the picture. So if it's late there or it's really early or whatever, just feel free to drop out whenever you can, whenever you feel like comfortable, because I'm going to be here for some time still. This video will be later fully on YouTube, so you can pick up from the part that you left. Okay, this looks nice. Make a green border. I don't know if the Ippen Nippen is coming back. Actually, I liked the comic a lot, and Kana actually liked making it, but it did not give like this kind of boost to her viewership as she kind of anticipated. And she actually got a different work for an American publisher that she's working for, like right now, doing a children's book, an illustrations book. So she doesn't have so much time anymore. So she is saving like new episodes for later when she will have some more free time probably. But we want to do a work, kind of art thing together later this year, so probably we will concentrate on this thing. Yes, for animation backgrounds we fake small text all the time. We make like this kind of dot 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 kind of thing when it's too small to paint and to read. But it's important to make real text when it's kind of big and prominent on the screen. So thank you. Okay, and this has this kind of metal thingies here. That hold stuff. And this is another probably mark of a background artist, that you appreciate electric poles and stuff like this. Okay. How does it actually look like? Okay, it has like these small holes inside. This kind of holes. Okay, this looks okay. I try not to do like digital transformation on things if I don't have to. Sometimes I do a little bit, like I paint it on, it's a little bit off, so I use the digital transformation to do it. Most of the times the digital transformation makes things blurry and not really nice. So sometimes I transform things and then paint it again to make it like sharp and nice. But most of the times I try to avoid it if I can. For animation backgrounds, we didn't use. We used some a little bit. If it's like a tree that is full of leaves and details, then maybe it's okay to transform it a little bit, like 10% max. But most of the times, no. How much does this setup cost? I would like to get into something like this. I can give you only the price for the iPad because I bought it like a week ago, so I still remember. It was 150. I can say it in yen only. 15.5 man. So 155,000 yen. But I don't remember the camera and stuff. Just check it online. The good side is that the Procreate, the application that I'm using for painting, is really cheap actually, because it's only like $12, I think. 1,200 yen, so $12, I think. So compared to Clip Studio or Photoshop, it's really cheap. Come back to traditional. Yeah, it's when you are like painting a lot with digital and you go to for traditional painting, it's kind of I want to back, I want undo or something, but I switch all the time, so I kind of got used to it. Lately, I have been doing a lot of watercolors and a lot of digital sketching for the animation storyboard. So okay. Let's do. How do I stay focused on painting? This is a good question. Sometimes it's like really hard to stay really focused on painting, and sometimes it's really easy. And I find that doing stuff like streaming actually helps to stay focused, because you have time and a goal and some people watching and you just paint away. Sometimes music helps. That's why we are using like the CD player I told before, to listen to music, and sometimes listening to like an audiobook or whatever helps to go through background painting that has a lot of details that you just have to paint, but it's kind of mind numbing to paint all the trees there or whatever. Sometimes using like the 35 minutes technique, like you paint for 35 minutes and then go away for 5 minutes and then you go back and you paint a little bit and you go do some, I don't know, wash some dishes in the kitchen or do some washing up or whatever, and then you go back for the next 35 minutes. So there are a few things that you can do to stay more focused. It depends on the painting and depends on the person and depends on the tools also. Sometimes the Apple Pencil goes dead like in the middle of the painting and like I have to charge it. So you just go and do other things. Thank you. Someone actually checked the prices. Thank you. I mean, you can buy probably the cheapest iPad Pro and it will work well, even than the smaller one. I have the biggest one because I also do like video editing on this one. I used a software that's called LumaFusion to do like all the YouTube movies that you can see on my YouTube channel. So I also use it for recording audio. Like I have a microphone that I can connect to the iPad. Okay, so this part is kind of done. So I will do like here you can see on the trees I did like sharp lines and highlights. So I will do this thing here also for the bottom part. I have on a separate layer like the highlights here. So I will erase some of them here because they went on the pole here. And I will add some like sharp highlights and details here on this part also. And I'm using for this the brush that's called dry ink, and I didn't modify it, I did just a little bit. So I'll add some like this kind of sharper highlights here and there, so it kind of gets like this kind of hand drawn feel to it. And I'm kind of looking at the work that was done for Ponyo, because when I was actually at Studio Ghibli to see how they do backgrounds, they did I talked to the background director who did Ponyo backgrounds for Ponyo, and he told me what pastels and all kinds of stuff they used for Ponyo, because usually they do only like how do you call it, poster color paint, but for Ponyo they used like pencils and all kinds of, not gouache, but how do you call it, like crayons and stuff for the backgrounds. So I thought that I will kind of mimic it here and add a little bit of such highlights here and there. What's your favorite part about painting? When it's finished. No. Sometimes just a few times you do a stroke with your brush and you see the paint do exactly what you would like it to do. And this is like this kind of moment that you feel like, yes, this is great. So probably this is my favorite moment in painting, especially in watercolor painting. Like, you put some paint to the paper and you try to control it, but of course watercolor paint is really hard to control, so sometimes it does like weird things on its own. And sometimes you put the brush to paper and you do the stroke and it does exactly what you wanted it and you hoped it will do. And this is like the best moment you can have. I use a protector on the screen mostly because I don't want to damage the screen by just bumping it somewhere. But because I have to use the protector, I bought like one that is matte, so not shiny protector, and it actually feels kind of better when using the Apple Pencil, because it kind of loses the feeling that you're poking a glass screen with a plastic stick, and it makes it more kind of smooth. And it also protects your screen from like just, scratching it. So it's good. So I recommend a screen protector, like a matte screen protector, for painting with the Apple Pencil. And I actually bought a really cheap one, like $6, I think. 600 yen I paid for this one. Thank you. I kind of try to limit myself with this painting because I don't want to make too much details, which is really easy to do when painting digitally. So I kind of keep the brush size so it does not go like really small. phone is buzzing. I hope the Siri will get not awake again. Okay. And a little bit here also, because I want to make the stairs more visible, like these are stairs. Those are stairs. These are stairs. Okay, and on this kind of bushy thing here, I'll do more darker. How to develop a style? Oh, yeah, difficult question. I don't know. Painting and drawing a lot helps. I feel that when I'm doing like comics or animations and I have to do the same character over and over again, the style changes a little bit, but it kind of settles in a place that it's comfortable. So this is one way to develop your style. Just do like a bigger work, like an online comic, for example, is really nice for this. And the style will change a lot actually along the way. Thank you for the prints. It really helps actually, the Society 6 and Patreon and Gumroad. Like I have video tutorials on how to paint with watercolors. I have 4 of them. I will be 4 I think, and I'll be doing more. I want to do a full like 10 episode series, but I was kind of busy, so I have 4 of them. I recently uploaded a new one. So if you want to see some of my tips on painting with watercolors, you can go and look at those tutorials. And my Patreon supporters above like the $5 thing can access all of my digital content without any additional payment. So when I will have my Yuragi comic online with as a PDF, they will be able to download it for free also, because they already pay me like in a way. Do you think it's possible to make the same result on Android? I don't know actually, because the software is only one part, and the more important I think is the pen and the tablet itself, how it well responds to the pen and the pen pressure and things like that. Probably yes, because I watched some reviews on Android painting and it is doable, I think. I haven't used an Android painting application or pen or whatever yet, so I cannot answer this question fully. I will add some details here to the beer cases, because they are like really nice shape. There are some tablets that are out right now that have just Windows and the Wacom technology in them, and there's a lot of choice, I think. I would recommend to actually test before buying, because even though the specs are good, it does not matter that the feeling of painting will be good also. So it would be best to test things. I went and tested the iPads like in a store. I spent there like an hour or something just painting away in Procreate. So it was a nice like way to check if I actually can use it. And you also have to check like if the software you want to use can just save stuff in good files, or it does not break the files on save, or it's not like blurred or whatever. So there's a lot of things to confirm, but I think there are a lot of choice right now with Android and with Windows also. Actually, Makoto Shinkai used the Surface tablet for the storyboard he did. I don't know right now what he uses, but he used a lot the Surface, Microsoft Surface tablet for like sketching the storyboards. Okay. And on the left, and to the left. Okay. This is a difficult one. Okay. I try not to use a ruler when I paint. So sometimes like rotating the picture and making it bigger and smaller helps a lot to make like nice straight lines. The one thing that I can recommend is swimming. I don't do it so much right now, but when I was doing my animation in the university, I did a lot of swimming, and it helped a lot, I think. Now I do like this kind of thing that I usually, when I'm not streaming like right now, I put a timer on my watch to I have this like a cheap Casio watch to remind me to get up from the desk and do some stretching and some work around the house for like 5-10 minutes every 30 minutes, which is good for you and good for the house. So that's nice also. And also a nice kind of ergonomic position when you draw is really important, I think. Well, this is obvious, but so having a good chair, for example, is really nice, and good chairs cost a lot actually, but you can get a nice chair if you go to a shop that sells used furniture from companies, like when a company closes they sell all the chairs or whatever, and you can get really good like kind of company boss level chairs for cheap. So it's nice to look in places like that for like nice chairs for that have a lot of adjustment points, so you can adjust a lot of stuff and make them fit your kind of body. Okay, I will do like the electricity things. It's kind of like dark blue color, so I'll use like a color from here. and it's on top of the highlights. Like this. Okay, and there's like another one like here. When I already have like the sketch and I already have like this idea where I'm getting, what kind of direction I'm going for, I don't care so much about the again I forget the word, what I do first and what I do second and so on. I more or less know where I'm going, so I'm just attacking the thing that I feel like painting right now. So right now I feel like I like to paint, I would like to paint these wires, so I'm painting those wires because they look cool. And okay, like this, and there's like one like here. Is there a lag when you draw the stroke and the iPad, or is just the screen capture? There is a little bit of a lag, but the good thing is that the lag does not get worse while you painting. So the problem with a lot of applications when you paint is like when you do a huge resolution file and start painting, the software cannot keep with your speed, and it's for longer strokes it's really bad. So the lag gets worse and worse while you are holding the stroke, and when you like finish the stroke is slowly catching up to what you're doing. But in Procreate on the iPad, sometimes there's a little bit of lag in the rendering, but it catches up with you really quickly, and it never gets like really bad. I'm actually really pleased with it because it's faster than my 27-inch iMac and Photoshop on it, I think. So I'm really surprised how fast is it actually. There is some lag probably from the capture also. And actually I'm streaming this video streaming this from the iPad using AirPlay, so through the local network to my computer. So it also makes it like look slower and lag a little bit probably. Probably for the next like streaming on iPad, I will buy like the HDMI output thing, so I can connect it directly to my computer. But I wanted this time to connect the camera also. So yeah, I can only connect one HDMI thingy to my computer. The only thing I would like to have a lot on Procreate is that on Photoshop you can click on a layer with probably Control button, but pressed key, Control key pressed, so it selects the layer you click on, and that would be really great to have in Procreate, like a layer selection tool or whatever. This looks okay, I think. And okay, so I have the cables here. I will add some more, because why not? More cables. And I occasionally also listen to podcasts while I do my art. Lately, I have been listening to a podcast that is called 99% Invisible, which is about design and all stuff designy, but like real life design cases, which is really interesting. Polskiego języka nie zapomniałem, ale większość widzów używa języka angielskiego, nawet jeżeli są z Japonii na przykład, więc dlatego używam angielskiego głównie. Czy to wstyd? No nie wiem. So yeah. 99% Invisible podcast, which is nice. 映画？ありがとう。なんかこういうエッジを足すだとなんか急になんか手書きっぽくなるんですね。あ、これはダメ。I will make it on another layer probably. Okay, let's do this one. I don't know how this looks like because my photo does not go so high. So I'll just, build on my previous experience and add some weird things here. Okay. Like an electric isolators or insulators, I don't know how do you call it. Insulators is okay. Resistors, no. I think I'll go, I'm already 2 hours and a half, so I'll go like about 20 minutes more or whatever, and let's call it a day. If you have any questions, feel free to ask on the chat and I'll try to answer. I like the multi-layer workflow. In the animation industry, when I was working on animation backgrounds, we did a lot of layers, and it was like you have an object and you do a layer for the object, for the shape, for the overall shape of the object, and then you split it into more layers. So you put more layers on it using the clipping mask method, and then you paint like the details there. So when the director, for example, wants to only change the tone of this face of the building, on this part of the building, he just takes this layer and changes it. So it's easier to do a lot of corrections. So for work, like when there are multiple people working on the same thing, it's really important to have the layers. But if you are working on your own thing and you like to work on one layer only, that's okay, I think. For me, I do mostly watercolors, so for me it's really natural to have only one layer and no undo. So for me, like having a 30-layer picture is like a luxury. But when I was in the animation thing, we had pictures that had like 500 layers, 1000 layers, whatever. So that was a nightmare for the computer also, because Photoshop gets really heavy when you have so big files to manage. How do you decide composition for your art? Like when I was for storyboards, I start always with a sketch and I try what works. Really simple sketches is what is the best. So you just keep it simple and do some sketches, and you're like, okay, we have these characters and those things I want to show, and we can move the camera about from here to here, so where we are shooting from, and you just kind of imagine in your head what it would look like if you did a photo with the camera, with the photo camera, from this kind of angle, and you try to sketch it, and then you see how it looks, and if it's okay, it's like okay. If it's not okay, you try a different angle, and then maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, and you go again and again, and you find like the best angle that shows everything and looks like an animation or looks like an illustration, that kind of comes from that sense kind of comes from looking at other people's works. So if you look at a lot of, I don't know, Studio Ghibli movies, for example, you know what kind of cut would be used for showing like this kind of situation or content. So you kind of predict what your favorite artists would do in this kind of situation and try to like emulate them. And then when you have a lot of like experience, you do it yourself, so you kind of know already what to do and when. I just did something weird here. Okay. So this is kind of important to like build up your sense of what looks like an illustration and what looks like an animation frame, and then go from there. A lot of pictures that had the city, trees you can go with like 2-3 layers or 4. But if you have a high-rise building with a lot of glass and with a lot of small details and a lot of like commercials and posters, and the poster have the background and the poster of the frame and the poster has the text, and each poster is a different layer. Now, not only one, but like 4 layers per poster or something like that, because if maybe they will want to fix the poster in some way in post-production or whatever, so you have to make everything on separate layers. That's a pain, but the file gets complicated fast. But if you don't do it, you will get like really yelled at by the director and by the like post-production guys, like, oh, we have to fix this cut, but you didn't do any layers here and here and here and here. Do layers. So you're like, okay, so from now I'll do layers everywhere, and they are happy. But you have to have kind of a fastish computer with a nice amount of memory to push it, because it takes a lot of memory. Macs or PCs? I don't know actually, because in the animation studios that I saw, both. Some software were for Windows, but now they are using a lot of Adobe, so it doesn't matter anymore what you are using. And also like TV Paint or something is also on a Mac and on Windows, so it does not matter so much anymore, I think. For example, I was working on a Mac when I was in the like animation studio, but the next person to me was working on Windows PC. So like HP workstation kind of thing. So it does not matter so much, I think. The problem with the Mac is like if you want to add like, I don't know, a more storage or expand the memory or whatever, it's hard to do by yourself, so that's the minus there. One tip for not overworking painting, especially digital, is to keep your brushes at kind of not too small, so you kind of physically limit yourself not to to small details. But also the things that are farther have less details. So you should start. I didn't do it here. You should start from things that are the most detailed things if you can. So you start from the foreground and you go to the background. I did not do it here and I'm kind of worried. Okay. Do you like photo bashing? If it's the thing that like merges a lot of photos and does like interesting stuff with it, then yes, I like it. I don't do it myself because I like the experience. I don't have the knowledge to do it, and I'm from the painting camp, so I paint everything. But I like, for example, some science fiction like concept arts that are done with like photos of like weird buildings and stuff mixed together, and they look like really realistic, like game art, game concept art, and stuff that you have to just use photo bashing to I think it's called photo bashing, like use photos as a resource for painting to make stuff fast, because you have to just show the art director the next concept art in like 5 minutes or something. But personally I like to paint everything, but because I think that it's more kind of valuable to show things that are once swallowed and ingested by an artist and then thought about and then decided and then painted, which is an important thing, I think. Okay. And this pole here, where is it? Yes, it's here. Okay. What's next? I don't like this here, so I'll just correct it a little bit. Besides Ghibli, where I get my inspiration from, I do a lot of photos. I do a lot of photos with my with my iPhone. When I go somewhere and I see something interesting, I take a photo. It would be better probably to just remember it and then paint it with like the memory of it only in your head. So you see a cute couple of I don't know, middle-aged guys or whatever, like a cute couple or whatever somewhere, and you remember them in your head, and then you try to recreate them, the kind of atmosphere of the place and everything just from your memory. But that's kind of impossible if you are busy, so you cannot get to it like at once. So most of the time I just take a photo, and I have a library of photos that I use for my references and for my inspiration. So I try to take as much inspiration as I can from real world, but also of course I take inspiration from books and from things I read, and from like, for example, I watched tons of really scientific videos on YouTube. So I watched a series of videos of a guy who is a beekeeper, and he just does a lot of YouTube videos about bees, which is really interesting. I watch a lot of videos about like science and electronics and robots and helicopters and all kinds of stuff, which is really interesting and gives you a lot of kind of insight in things that you didn't know. I think that YouTube is great for this. I watch a lot of movies and animations that I like. I like less stuff recently, so I watch less animation recently, but I try to watch and rewatch animations that I really like. So of course Ghibli, but for example, I have been watching recently like 彼氏と彼女の事情, so His and Her Circumstances, I think, which was directed by Hideaki Anno from Evangelion, which is a really nice animation series, and it has a lot of interesting editing tricks and all kinds of cool animation in it. And sometimes we watch it over and over again, like with Kana, we sit and we watch and we comment like, oh, this was interesting and this was interesting, and oh, this kind of, oh, he did it from this angle and used this one, and he didn't draw this but he drew that. So analyzing something with someone also is nice, fun, and important, I think, because it gives you another point of view. Yeah, like videos on tigers, or on videos on like the tiger tank. Both categories are interesting. So it's important to see like real people and real places and real things, and be interested in stuff, and then think about them. Not go to the internet like to Google and stuff, but just think about things and imagine things, and then just inspiration comes from that. Like my Cold in Yokohama series of illustrations came to be because I was interested in the old Yokohama district. So we actually went to Yokohama, did some photos, and I was looking for old tram lines because I saw in the Ghibli movie that there was tram, but I didn't remember it from Yokohama when we went. So we actually went and looked for the old tram lines, and it was not anymore there. So we asked some people around places that we thought that, okay, this tram has to be here somewhere. And they told us, okay, like in 1960 there was a tram here, and it came from here to here, and the tracks went under this bridge here, and it was like really cute. So I imagined how it would look like and tried to paint it in the first picture, and I liked it so much I did like the whole series. So like you get inspiration for your paintings from all kinds of weird places, but it's really important to keep your eyes open kind of on everything. Okay. Okay, so this part is kind of done, I think. I'll try to add some color to the house to see how it looks like. I'll alpha lock it and use a kind of biggish brush, kind of like this one. It's okay. And the shadow is weird because it comes like from where we are standing. So this part here is kind of darkish, but the roof is kind of bluish because it reflects the sky a little bit. So I'll just paint it blue for now, like this. And the front is bright. But I want to also paint a shadow that is cast from the building in front. So I'll try to add it like this and kind of something like this. Okay. And the building in front, this one, I will also alpha lock it, pin. I'll make it a little bit more darker, so it kind of stands out. And I will add a layer like there's the road here, so where should I add it? Like below the buildings here, and I will turn it to multiply like this, and let's try the shadows like a little bit more, like here. Are you ever scared that the watercolor could ruin a perfectly good painting? Yes, all the time. But because you are kind of you get familiar with it when you paint more and more, you kind of can anticipate what it will do when you do this or that. So it gets easier and easier. But even though sometimes you kind of feel, oh, I have it, I know what I will do, and you do it and it's ruined. So even now I'm kind of, sometimes I ruin pictures, but also with painting with watercolors you learn that you can fix stuff. It's not like permanent, the paint is not permanent, so there are some things that you can fix with watercolors. Not everything, but sometimes it's enough. So you can sometimes fix things that are not good. Yeah, this looks nice. And all here also. I like it, and I'll add some more here. And the kind of fence thing on the left side is also kind of darkish. So I'll paint a little bit of it dark, like here, but this part here is lighter. So I will first try to figure it out, like this. But this color is a little bit more dark because it's in like half shadow. Do you like dogs? Yes, I like dogs. I actually went to for some shopping yesterday or like the day before yesterday with Kana, and we saw like a little cute Mame Shiba, so the Shiba breed dog, like the smaller one. And it was so cute. And there was like this old lady that was guiding it, like walking it, and I was like really tempted to say to her, okay, lend me the dog for one day. I will, like, I don't know, clean your garden or whatever. Just lend the dog to me for one day so I can just squeeze all the cuteness from it. I like dogs. In Poland we actually had like 2 dogs while I was a kid, so yeah, I like dogs a lot. I don't paint it with oils. I have oils. I got oils from somewhere, I don't remember. But I would like to paint with them, but I'm kind of afraid of oils. I would like to try them, but I know that they are kind of a hassle compared to like watercolors or acrylics or gouache because of drying and stuff. But I see awesome paintings done with oils and with thinned oils also on in the internet, so I would really like to try it. I like cats too, but probably I like dogs a little bit more. My grandfather had a lot of cats, so I like them, but I know that cats are their own animals. So dogs are humans animals, but cats are just cats. So you have a lot of different kinds of cats, and I like them as this kind of wild, half wild animal that generously lets you pet it if sometimes. So that's also nice. I'm from Bytom, which is near Katowice in Poland. Okay. Hello. Hello. Do you have any advice for painting really detailed drawings? It just takes time. That you can put as many details as you want. It takes time, and it takes a lot of detailed observation of materials, which is really important. I mean, you can fake stuff when you paint in a style like this, like here I'm doing, but if you want to do a really detailed painting, you have to be really good at painting materials. So really good at painting metal and really good at painting fabric, because the lighting changes a lot because of the material, and you have to be good at painting fake fabric and painting like gold and painting like materials. So for making really detailed paintings, I would suggest learning how to paint materials really good. So exercising in painting like chrome, and exercising in painting like concrete and all kinds of things. So it's really, because it's really important to paint realistic, really detailed paintings. I spent a lot of time learning how to paint like concrete and pavement and like glass and stuff for buildings, which is really like important for detailed animation backgrounds. Witam serdecznie. We made it too dark a little bit. Okay, we are closing into 3 hours of non-stop stream, so I think I will pause here and do the rest probably tomorrow off camera, and I will make a short YouTube video on this. This is how it looks like without the sketch, so without the sketch layer which I have, and I don't know how many hours it will take to finish it, probably double the hours I already put into it. I did like 4 hours painting today and 4 hours painting yesterday. It will probably take 2 more hours, 2 more sessions like this to finish this painting. I will show you again the photo I used for the reference, so you can more or less see where I am starting from. So yeah, this will still require a lot of work, but I kind of like the direction in which it's going, because it kind of has this kind of ponyo vibe to it, which I'm trying to replicate here on Procreate, on the tablet. What I'm saying, on the iPad in Procreate. The music playing here is by Scott Buckley, and he makes a lot of really good Creative Commons music, and while doing his science, because he's a scientist, so visit his site. I will have a link under this video. Okay, thank you for coming. I am really happy that I managed to do such a long stream without crashing like halfway through. Thank you for coming, and also you can see a lot of my videos which I did on my YouTube channel. Okay, so I think I'll stop here. Thank you again for coming, and all the comments and all the good words in the chat. Thank you very much. See you in the next video.